I'd like to thank University of Nevada, Reno for this incredible conference. Let's give them a big hand. Good, okay. All right, so we're going to have some fun here. My name is Dave Schwader. I'm CEO of Shapeshift Ciphers. Let's get into it. February 27th, 2023, Jen Easterly correctly criticized the entire technology industry for producing products that were not secure by design, therefore relegating their customers to the status of being crash test dummies. Right on, Jen. Okay. When you look at today's internet and cyberspace, the phrase rotten to the core comes to mind. Everything fundamentally is broken. And ladies and gentlemen, we're all in this together. I don't say this as an outsider. Toss in quantum computers coming, we've got problems. Now, our thesis is today's cryptography is complex mathematical foundations. They are unnecessary, they are unwarranted, they are not data security's friend. They hide backdoors, they hide malicious attacks, and they ignore advances in computers such as quantum computer. Now, today's cryptography has never been proven secure by the government's own vocabulary, by their own criteria, by their own facts. The truth is, they are not secure by design, and nothing good can come from this. So, there's no effectiveness guarantee. Spent 6 years coming out with 9 finalist candidates for post-quantum. 2 of them got cracked, 1 of them on a 1-core laptop over a weekend. Please, right? They recommend crypto agility. They've never been in an operational capacity. That is not feasible. And not only that, what was supposedly protected before a hot failover has been vulnerable all the time, and there may not be something to fail over to. Yeah, we're in this all together. So they recommend hybrid encryption, and that's where deterministic chaos can come in and fit. By fortifying and making these not secure by design data encryption technologies secure by design. Data encryption standards are not secure. All right, so like it or not, you're in for a heavy lift moving to quantum cryptography, and you will move to it. It will be mandated by the federal government. You will do it. It will be a heavy, unpleasant, long, torturous trip. There is no plan B. If these cryptography methods fail, there is no backup plan. This is right out of a NIST meeting, NCOCCE meeting. There's no plan B. What can the outcome be? Well, to use IBM's terminology, cybersecurity Armageddon. We're talking your water supplies, we're talking the power grid, we're talking your bank balances, we're talking your schools, we're talking your hospitals, and on and on and on. Authorities, guess what? You have a data breach, it's your fault. You have defective products with hundreds of remediations within the cybersecurity industry, but you are personally responsible. Your staff, some of them could go to jail. The FCC, the FTC can show up. Governor, attorney generals can show up. The FBI can show up. Maybe the SEC. And heaven help you if you have a European citizen that has been impacted because the European GDPR could show up, and you don't want any of these unelected bureaucrat administrators in your life. New action is required. I'm here to offer one such thing. Fortified one-time pad methods are the only methods that have been proven mathematically to be secure. And there's varieties of them. There's Lorenz methods that the British Army was just terrified of with the Lorenz encryption machine in World War II. There's one-time pad. What people don't realize is one-time pad is the trivial case of what carryless add, which would include potential modifications like Caesar cipher and so on. Okay. So, using this as a bedrock and the principles that fund Nevada, unpredictability, got a shot at beating the cyber criminals. So, what does it do? Well, it avoids complex mathematics like the plague. There is no math involved. What you're going to see today, a junior high school student will fully understand. Right? We don't need keys. We can use keys, but we'll use them for different purposes than what keys are designed for. What we do is we overwhelm, we swamp attackers with unpredictability. House odds with deterministic chaos is mathematically indistinguishable from 100% in favor of you. You're in control. Stalemate any kind of periodicity, patternicity analysis because you can drive it to its limit and there are no patterns inside the ciphertext that is produced. If they think they see patterns, that's great because it's apophenia, cognitive bias where they think they see dogs, cows, and faces in clouds. They're not dogs, faces, and clouds. They're clouds, right? So, preliminary matters. I didn't even think of this stuff. This got noticed 135 years ago by Henri Poincaré, a French mathematician, in a mathematics contest. Got noticed trying to solve what is known as the general three-body problem. It got forgotten. It got re-noticed by Edward Lorenz in 1960, got renamed as the butterfly effect. Numerous books have come out. So this stuff's been banging around a long time. It's been overlooked and neglected, and it's time to dust it off. So, today's encryption, like AES, which some people tell me is broken, I don't know. I don't know who they would be, uses minuscule unpredictability and massive processing, computationally massive, okay? What you can do with deterministic chaos is you use massive multi-phase heterogeneous unpredictability. And you have different forms of unpredictability, you apply it in different ways, and by the time the ciphertext falls out the bottom, it can be ciphertext with no patternicity, no patterns. It can be what is known as mathematical barren plateau, sort of like Black Rock Desert where they have our big festivals out there. Minimal processing. In the best case, for the lightest encryption, you touch data one time. AES, there's no telling. You touch it dozens and dozens of times. So we have a multi-phase process. And first thing is we construct a entropy generator injector. It is a generator complex construction. That would be the first phase that you would do. And this is where the secret is. All encryption has a secret. This is the secret here, right here. And it's a big secret, has got many pieces to it, like a puzzle, and they've all got to fit together correctly. If you don't get it right, you're not going to where you want to go. Second one is encryption. You can use any encryption you want, but as I mentioned, things like the one-time pad, Lorenz encryption, carryless add, and so on are highly, highly favorable, very high performance, blows away AES, blows away Cha-Cha 20, you name it, needs no acceleration whatsoever, can be done in pure software. Third, the second phase two would be dilution. If you have an opportunity for expansion of the ciphertext, you can stuff garbage into it. This isn't something that Dave Schwatter thought of. The Vatican was doing this in the 1600s when they were sending all their nasty grams out to their monasteries and doing all the things that they didn't want people to know. They were called null values. So this is null values in spades, and we'll talk about that in another slide. Phase 3, fractionated scrambling. This is the kill shot. This is the thing that stops the attackers dead in their tracks. So into dispersion, and there's a couple of different methods. So you can do it in a basic. This is a basic. You construct your generator. You have you encrypt. You do dilution dispersion. But these are like Lego blocks. You can snap them together different ways. So what you have is an amorphous framework of frameworks that you can snap together. There's nothing to hang on to, and there's nothing for an attacker to go after, because if they go after it with mathematical algorithm, there's no mathematical algorithm involved. It was not constructed mathematically. So what we want is a generator complex output that produces unpredictability, random numbers that are computationally indistinguishable from true random numbers. Yes, they exist. They're hard to find. You must be careful. You can do it. They do exist. You want them to be computationally incompressible. Given a value, how did you get here? You won't know. You won't know what the next value is. It will be mathematically irreducible. There will be nothing like calculus integration, where you have a formula that sums up all of the polygons with a nice little formula. They don't exist. You run every step out. You must do it. The generator operates opaquely and transparently to any encryption and decryption operation. Right? It never reveals any internal state. Once you've built it, you walk away from it and you ask it for a pseudo-random number value, some unpredictability value. You get it, but you don't know where it came from, how it was generated, and you don't know what's going on inside. Okay, to decrypt, the decryptor builds an identical pseudo-random number generator complex, initializes it the same way, warms it up the same way, and operates it the same way. And that's a pile of work, because you've got to know what you're doing. You get anything wrong, as was the definition of chaos is that the future depends on the present, but approximating the present does not approximate the future. And that's why we don't have weather prediction out for more than 5-8 days. So the complex. So here we go. We have an encoder or a decoder here. And we may have multiple entities. These would potentially be cores, because we are multi-core friendly. Here, you got your generator complex over there that's going to do it. So you've got these entities. They each get a bank within the generator complex. Each bank has multiple cells that are dedicated to one function inside that bank for that entity. There's no overlap. This avoids race conditions, run conditions, and so on. So very multi-core oriented. So these are stuffed. These cells are stuffed with pseudo-random number generators of different types and different sizes. You may be using something like a linear congruential generator. It's 14 bits, it may be 17 bits. The next thing may be a linear feedback shift register. You name it, all different kinds. And you can pick these things pseudo-randomly as well. So nothing is fixed here. There's no tent stake in the ground. Oh, a sensor application may have something like that. Very simple, very modest, low shelf time for the data. A laptop going into a server, a banking application, may have something like that. Or you may have a cloud that has massive computing capability, and it can look like this, fully populated and just indescribably complex. This is how you achieve your opacity and your transparency. You have an isolation interface. It could be hardware interface register, or it could be an API. Phase 1 encryption, deterministic chaos. You can use any encryption method, but we recommend you use things like one-time pad, lure-ins, so on. That's what we recommend. And we have other encryption alternatives. You work with units. Units are like, if your units are 1 bit, your unit size is 1, then you're working with single bits, but you could be working with bit pairs, which would be like 00, 01, 10, 11, so on, right? Or nibbles, 4 bits at a time. So the thought here is you work with units. There is no concept necessarily of any kind of alignment. There's no byte alignment. So here we go. So we've done that. Now keep in mind that each one of these phases I can talk about for an hour, but I only got a half an hour. And so we'll get to that in the end. So dilution. Ciphertext expansion budget is required because we're going to grow the ciphertext after what has come out of stage 1. We can generate arbitrary garbage and append it, and we'll get you to it. Or you could have tempered, which is stochastically coherent garbage. Garbage that kind of has the rhythm and the feel of all of the cybersecurity, of the ciphertext, but it isn't, it's garbage. And so you can append that. Equalized is the one that I really like, and we'll be talking about this. You can have different sizes now for your units. You can have multi-byte all the way down to bit units that you can be working with. So, equalized. Example, bit unit equalized. Suppose we have 128 kilobyte ciphertext. That's how many bits are in it. Just multiply 128 kilobyte by 8 for 8 bits. That's how many we have. Now, the number of ways it can appear as ciphertext depends on the ratio of the 1 bits to the 0 bits, or the your bit pairs to one another, and so on. So what we want to do here, we're going to use 1 bits. And so if we have equalized the bits counts, and we'll talk about how we do that. This is the number of ways that the ciphertext can appear. This is high school mathematics combinatorics. This is not a problem. Okay. Very small file. This is how many ways it can appear. You cannot calculate those numbers. You can only approximate them. Use Stirling's formula. Immediately move to logarithms. Boom. That's what it looks like. Boom. That's what it looks like. Boom. And that is your numerator up there. The bottom, we have two terms in the bottom. We can go through the same process, Stirling's formula. That's what the bottom looks like. We go through, we calculate that number up there and go through. And what we wind up with is 4 times n to the 3,945th power, where n is the number of atoms believed in the observable universe. Good luck with brute force. Good luck. So we have bit unit equalized effect. We have our final ciphertext. What we want to do, what we do is we count the number of 0 bits, the number of 1 bits, and that's the bit arrangements there. And it turns out that when they're equal, you get your maximum entropy, maximum unpredictability, chaos, beyond. People talk about NP hard problems. This is NP impossible territory now. So when your 1s and your 0s are equal, that's it. You don't have to go all the way. You can just approach equality, and it's all good. Phase 3, scrambling, fractionated scrambling. This is the kill shot here. So you got equalization values, maybe some equalized garbage fill. What you do is you blend in by the units the blue and the green into the red. just use what is commonly known as the Fisher-Yates shuffle. Boom, they just blend in like shuffling cards down at the Nugget casino. Very easy, very fast, okay. You never trust your encryption. You never trust it because you're using pseudo, and that's a long description. So it's obvious where the ciphertext ends and where the equalization values begin and the equalization so on. All right, like that. So you blend them in, and now you're ready to go into the last step, high-performance dispersion methods. You've got stuff with garbage in it, completely confused. You can shuffle or you can swap. And shuffle is simply your Fisher-Yates shuffling, just like they do at the Nugget. And swapping would be you actually start at the top of the deck, and then you move it down into the deck and swap it with the cards there. And when you get in the middle of the deck, you can swap some to the top, some to the bottom. Whereas with Fisher-Yates, it's always moving from the top to the bottom, and you're always moving cards down into the deck. Oh, you can do it multiple times, have either operations. They're very easy, very programmable. Shuffling. There's your generator complex. We're going to go left to right. So that's our offset. We go to the generator complex. We're the current offset. There's what we're going to swap. We go to the generator complex. You say, give me an offset. There's your offset. That's what we are going to shuffle with. Shuffle with. Boom. That's your new offset. Easy peasy. There's your new offset. So, swapping. 2 in units. Okay. 2 to the n, actually, units. It has to do with an optimization and performance. So processing left to right, you can throw forward. Above, you're only throwing forward, but now you can throw back behind you. You've got your current offset. There's your value there that you're going to swap. You need to go to your generator. You need to get a random offset. Up there it is, sitting in there. All right. There's that guy there. And what you do, swap them. You're done. There's a new offset. How easy can it get? Summary. We are all crash test dummies. And as IBM said, if the standards fail, there's no plan B, and we're looking at cybersecurity Armageddon. It's a fact. What the standards need is fortification to make them secure by design. Deterministic chaos can provide a compound fortification that can make these not secure by design data encryption technologies secure by design. Traditional encryption locks up with something like that, and what does that use? What kind of a mechanism does that use to lock and unlock? Small key. Invites key management, an enormous problem operationally. Enormous problem. Rigid formula process, AES 256 or AES, was designed to be put into ASICs. That's why it's so rigid. Byte alignment. There are known alignment considerations in it like that. Mathematical foundations, NP-hard math problems. They challenge the attacker with a difficult to solve math problem, whereas deterministic chaos uses a different kind of lock. It's not a key, it's a process. Lock may have 4 billion numbers on the dial. You don't go by the next number one time. You go 1 to 4 billion times, and it may be forward clockwise, it may be counterclockwise. Absolute precision is required. You get anything wrong, you are out of luck. It is an unforgiven silent failure. We throw everything out, everything. And that's what we have. Instead of keys, we have arbitrary length initialization vectors, optimal key management we can use. We don't require them, but we can use them. Amorphous, unpredictable processes, alignment-free, deterministic chaos foundation, NP impossible challenge. Not NP hard, NP impossible. So, these are the advantages. And each one of these I can talk to at length, like anti-fragility. The more unpredictability and the more chaos you throw into one of our encryptions, the stronger it gets. You know, Nathan Taleb, anti-fragile book. Right? Testability, simplicity, it's all crypto agility by nature. It's all there already, ready to go. So let's talk about World War II. We have some distinguished veterans here, and thank you for your service, sir. Okay, let's go back in time. German Enigma machine, and the much feared, superior for a while, Lorenz encryption machine. Tommy Flowers built Colossus, incredible machine. Turing used it. Alan Turing and Ralph B. Tester worked on cracking the Lorenz, and they cracked it because it was a weak design. Right? Giants in cryptography changed the course of World War II. The Japanese Navy, JN-25, John Tiltman of Bletchley Park started working on it, turned it over to Joseph Rochefort. And this was the gentleman that cracked enough of the JN-25 codes to lock in the victory in the Battle of Midway. That guy right there. Giants in the industry, in the profession. We cracked the Soviet one-time pad system because they made a grievous mistake in the way they did it. They got lazy and they made a mistake. And the guy that did it was Meredith Gardner. You've never heard that name, I'm sure. These are towering figures in cryptography. How did they break it? Gee, Enigma and Lorenz, one character in, one character out, position remains constant. JN-25, one symbol in, they had to work with symbols because the Japanese writing is, you know, these strange drawings. One symbol out, symbol position maintained. Soviet OTP, one character in, one character out, position maintained. Does anybody in the audience notice a pattern here? This is how these towering, brilliant giants in the world of cryptography cracked these things and changed history. The Battle of the North Sea would have been different. The Battle of Midway would have been different. Rommel was a pretty good general, but the fact is he was reading our codes because it had been cracked through the Italian embassy. These gentlemen would not have stood a chance against fractionating scrambling alone, by itself. Deterministic chaos data encryption can stop the attackers dead in their tracks and make their day a very, very miserable experience. If you look at the classical definition of the word disruption, it is overused in Silicon Valley. It's overused by startups. Shapeshift doesn't involve, or deterministic chaos doesn't involve any new technologies. It's all proven. It's been around for some of it. been noticed for 105 years. Novel product architecture. This stuff has never been put together like this. Yes, other people have tried to do it. They either quit too early or they got off to a bad start by doing unfortunate things such as referencing the logistics map, trying to use floating point numbers and so on. No, it's all very, very discrete mathematics, very straightforward, very easy. All right? They get the customer a set of attributes that were never before available. By Clayton Christensen's own definition, this is an authentic, extraordinarily disruptive technology. So, my call to action is to UNR. I believe UNR would be well served by becoming a center of competency in deterministic chaos encryption, non-mathematics based encryption. I genuinely believe that the standards will fail, and when they fail, I believe that nothing good will come from it. Right? There is potential international recognition because no one's looking at it right now. There are journal papers, research theses, potentially, STTR grants in it, conference presentations, like this conference could be significantly larger. And if there's anybody here left from the Nevada state government, I love Nevada, and I'm certainly willing to talk to the state of Nevada about incorporating this at a zero royalty rate. So that's it. I hope you've had fun. I hope you've been a little shocked. And I hope you have questions. Please bring it.
One question. I have kind of a long question.
If I give him a mic, yeah, give him a mic. It'll keep me from having to repeat. I hope it's not a hard one. I like you. Be kind.
So I have kind of like a long question, and I have like a few smaller leading questions before I get to the main one. If I understand correctly, the generator complex is analogous to the symmetric key in the symmetric key used in classical encryption.
It supplants the key.
Which is usually shared or generated during the classical encryption. And the most common approach nowadays is to use like a key exchange algorithm to generate that, right? And in your slide, you mentioned that key management protocol is optional for deterministic encryption.
Yeah, we used it in a different way. What you can do is, I mean, there's so many ways of doing this. You can take a multiplicity of sources, you can concatenate them, and you can start running hashes on them to produce initialization vectors of arbitrary length. So one of those things could be a key. You're not using it as a key, but you're using it as part of a key. And if somebody gets the key, they can't do anything because they don't know what the other pieces are and what the hashing algorithm was.
How do the two parties know which hashing algorithm to use or which part of the initialization vector to use?
Okay, well that would be covered by something like a cybersecurity suite. With you've got your TLS3 cybersecurity suite, and so this would be selected. It is possible, I don't have time right now, but it is possible to resurrect Diffie-Hellman. It is possible to resurrect RSA. And by resurrecting Diffie-Hellman and RSA and Diffie-Hellman elliptic curve, it is possible to salvage the public key infrastructure as it exists right now without heavy lifting. And it's a little bit beyond this, you know, the time frame here that I can answer the question, but yeah.
So, the final question, kind of based on what you just said. So you think you can even make improvements to the key exchange algorithm itself using this same theory?
I'm sorry, my English is getting in the way.
can this theory, the deterministic chaos theory, be used to make changes to the key exchange algorithm itself?
Yes, yes, yes. Nothing is cemented. You walk in, it's just like walking into a casino. How are the 18 decks of cards going to be shuffled? Maybe it's 15 decks. Maybe it's 3 decks. You can make it totally unpredictable. Totally. But if you make it unpredictable, you got to remember how you did it. And so, I think I glossed over it. The decryption guy has to build the same thing exactly and use a push-pop stack to run the pseudo-random number generator in your entropy injection complex and see what it would have told the encryptor to do, and then start reversing by popping. Yeah, there's a lot here. I think you and R should. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a gentleman here that. Somebody wanted that. Here you go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Does this technology already have a government approval to be used for classified or controlled unclassified information?
No, and that's why the way it works is if you go for FIPS certification, like I worked on FIPS certification for hard disk drives, for FIPS 140-2 hard disk drives, it took 3 years. Right? There is a total of 9 standards. I think 4 have been announced. Let's see, there's 3 running now, have been thrown out. The way you get around it and the way you preserve your FIPS certification is you do everything the way they want you to do it. And when you're finished with your encryption, they say, okay, you've done it. And then you use deterministic on top of it to fortify it. There's not going to be any complaint. You've used AES. I used AES, right? And then you hit it with deterministic on top of it. There's nothing to say. They can quibble. Now, NSA has, will say don't do anything, but they've got a variety of motivations, don't they? Does that answer your question? Yeah, we should talk. Who would like to engage? Come on. Anybody here in the state of Nevada? Anybody here from the military? Let's engage. Let's do this thing. You and R, bring it. Let's get some grad students. This is so easy. This is so fast. You can be trained in a day on how to do this. And when I code up a framework, I can generally do it now in 2 days, hardcore C, 600 to 800 lines of code. A graduate student can read it in half an hour, push away from the table and say, there are no back doors here. I know how this works. To the bit. Easy.